this computer. Okay, good morning. It's 10 o'clock. It's our math meeting time, and we are on math lesson 3.03 today. Just the lesson. You don't have to submit the assignment until tomorrow. Of course, if you get it done today, great. You don't have to do it tomorrow. Let me let people in. Okay, so today the whole lesson is just remembering the algorithm. Algorithm is a fancy word that just means like the way your parents learned how to do it. It's like, this is the way to do it, math, which we all know isn't really the case. There are lots of ways to do it, but if you learn like one way according to a formula and you do it that way all the time, it's called an algorithm. So today you're working on your multiplication algorithm. I think you've learned it before. You take the numbers, you stack them up on top of each other. So if you had 31 times 27, you're going to go 1
No,
times
you're
7.
supposed to put the bigger number on top.
Oh, okay. Well, you can do that. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter if I do 27 times 31 or 31 times 27. 1 times 7 is 7. If it was more than 10, I would have to carry and put it up here to remember that my 10 is rebundled, but it's not. 3 times 7 is 21. This is how I learned to do it. Then I have to put a 0 in here to hold my place value for the 7. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I add them together. There are all sorts of different ways of doing this. I know I've seen kids do it really fast where they do partial products. So they basically do 7 times 31 and then they do 20 times 31 and they write the two numbers down. So I know that you guys know different ways of doing it, but today's all about practicing that one way of doing it, the multiplication algorithm, and getting ready so that we can do that with decimals. So where are we doing that? Well, let's take a look. Let me share my screen and we'll go to the lesson today. Oops, not that lesson, this one right here. Whoops. I wanted to be in math, there it is. Here we are in the math lesson. We're in 3.03, monster multiplication, multi-digit fidget. Here they're teaching you this multi-digit equation. Write the equation vertically with the larger number on top and the smaller number on the bottom. Multiply starting in the ones place, carrying if you need to. And you start with the 4. It's almost like you're ignoring the 20 and doing the 4 times it, writing that number down. So that's 4 times 742. And then you do the next number, which is 20. So you have to remember it's not 2 times it, it's 20 times it. So we have to put the 0 in. And then you do your multiplication, and then you need to make sure it's very neat and lined up, and we add it all together. Kids go wrong when they don't add it together correctly. There's lots of practice here. And then at the end, it has standard for monsters. It has the assignment, and you're going to do the monster multiplication. And this time the assignment is actually a page out of your workbook. So you're going to have to print it and take a picture of it and submit it, or use the notebook and submit it, or you're going to have to save it as a PDF, and then you can work on it. Okay. Be careful because let me see, is this just one page? It looks like it's just one page. 303. Let's see if it's in here with just one page. It's not very many things. Now, remember, you don't have to submit this until tomorrow. So I really want you to spend the time on the lesson today, getting to know the lesson. If you want to do it, oh, they don't have it in here. Oh, that's a problem. So it's not in there.
What do you mean it's in there?
I don't see it in my notebook, not 303.
I have. I seen it in my notebook.
Did you have it in your notebook? Mine goes from 3. Oh, maybe it's stuck together. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, it is here. And it is just 4 problems. Be very neat. It's very small here. If you cannot write your numbers this small, you might want to write it bigger on the side. Show all your work. So I don't want just an answer here, because then it looks like you did it on a calculator. which you do need to know how to do, but I don't want just an answer. I need to see your work. That way, if there's something wrong, I can kind of figure out where we're going wrong. Okay. Again, I want you to do the lesson. I don't necessarily need you to submit that until tomorrow. Okay. So you're going to complete the lesson and then you're going to submit that page. All right, my friends, but for today, we have a couple of things to do. The first one is a warm up with a number string. So what I want you to do is look at this number string when I share the page and think about how you would solve those problems. So not just the answers, but try to pay attention to your thinking so that you can tell me afterwards, because being able to explain your mathematical thinking is part of the standards for 5th grade. And so I want you to be able to tell me, how did you solve that problem? What did you think? What strategies did you use? Which is a little bit hard, right? So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to talk about this number string. All right. So taking a look at this number string, you can take a minute and you can just write on a piece of paper your solutions, but try to think about, like, what are you picturing in your brain? How are you knowing what that answer is? Okay. Sasha, if you just joined us, we're taking a look at this number string and we're solving it. And we're kind of trying to picture how in our brain we knew the answer. Okay. So what I'd like you to do right now is be willing to speak out, or you can put it in chat if you're too shy to say anything. How did you solve the first one? What did you think? What did you picture on the very first one? Anybody willing to tell me? Yeah, Christian.
So in my head, I picture like a bunch of number lines in my head.
Oh, a number line. Okay, that goes from one. And what was your answer? 1 times 16. What does it equal?
16 was what I got.
16. Anybody have a different thing they pictured? Or a different way of solving this one? I kind of pictured boxes for mine. So I was kind of picturing a line with 16 boxes. Or you remember those Unifix cubes in class? If I had those with me, 16 of those in a row. I need to get some Unifix cubes so that we can use them in class. All right, then how about the second one? 2 times 8. What did you get for answers? Put it in the chat. 2 times 8. Two times 8. I see Amoy put it in there. Evie put it in there. Great. Who's willing to explain how they knew that answer? Amoy, go ahead. Unmute and tell us what you picked.
Because how I answered is because when you put 8 plus 8, it's already 16. So when it's 2 times 8, it's 2 8s. And
we're picturing the 2 8s. Excellent. Anybody else have a different way that they solved this one? Did everybody picture 2 8s like Amoy? You can go like this if you did. Just give me an I agree. That's what I did. All right. Well, let's go on to the third one then. What's 4 times 4? Put it in the chat. So Evie, what did you picture on this one? Or how did you solve it? What strategy?
Wait, me, right?
Yeah.
So, what I did is I counted, so 2 4s
equals an 8, and then another 2 4s equals an 8, and on the last one, 2 8s equals 16. So I just put them all together, and that makes 16.
Awesome. Okay, so she broke it up kind of like this, Evie. You pictured 2 4s. 4 plus 4 equals 8. 4 plus 4 equals 8, and 8 and 8 is 16. Nice. We're kind of seeing all the pieces of 16, aren't we? Anybody do that one any differently? I was kind of thinking if I had my my original drawing of 16, and if it was Unifix cubes and I broke them in half, then I'd have 2 8s. Then if I broke those in half, I'd have 4 4s, right? I wish I had my Unifix cubes here. I was answering the question and I said I am to answer your question as well. Amoy, I don't understand. What are you saying? Did you have more to say? Okay, excellent. All right, and then we have 8 times 2. Is that the same answer as 2 times 8? I'm seeing yes. So can you always just trade the numbers around in math like that with multiplication? I see Christian saying no. With multiplication, is 1 times 2 always the same as 2 times 1? Amoy? What do you think?
I don't think so.
You know, it's interesting because with that, I was just thinking about it. You know, we always say it is the same, that you can switch the numbers around. And you can move them, commute them from front to back or back to front, commutative property where you can change them. But the truth is, if you have one person in a room and there are 16 cupcakes, how many cupcakes does that person get? 16, right? That's a lot of cupcakes. But if you have 16 people in a room, everybody's only going to get 1 cupcake. So even though we say it's the same answer, there's still 16 cupcakes. It is kind of different the way you think about the problem, isn't it? But it doesn't really change the answer which way you do it. Good work, you guys. I'm going to do one other thing, and this is kind of a fun estimation one. Well, actually, I wanted to show you a few other things. We are going to be working on making sure that we have our multiplication facts down. And multiplication really should be something you think about the way you guys just did. In fact, some of our greatest mathematicians in the world are not very fast with their math facts, but it does help to know your math facts. There are lots and lots of fun games online to learn math facts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in class like quizzing you on your math facts, but if you go in and you just times in like multiplication fact games, there's Happy Burger on this website. I found a bunch really quickly. There's Space Race Multiplication to learn your math facts. There is Mr. Nussbaum's Multiplication Zombies of the Graveyard. So if you are a person who already knows your math facts just really quickly, you know 2 times 8 is 16, and you don't even have to think about it very hard, you're probably good to go. But if you still have to sit there and like go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, that's great that you know how to do that on your fingers. I'm not giving you a hard time for that because that's actually really important to know that. But also sometimes that's going to really slow you down when you're doing math. And so learning it just quick. 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 8 is 16, 8 times 2 is 16 is useful. And I'd like you to spend some time playing some of those games, getting your math facts down. I think that Dreambox has some of that, but really Dreambox is more about deep thinking than it is about quick fact memorization. So I actually am going to quit talking because I've talked too long today. And Evie, you're